For the 27th Sunday in Ordinary Time, we've got a great reading from the prophet Habakkuk, or some say Habakkuk. It doesn't matter which syllable you put the emphasis on, it's still the same prophet, still Word of God, and in the midst of this time around the exile, things are particularly difficult for the Israelites. And you know, the prospect of waiting for the Lord to follow through on His promise is very difficult for many of them. And the prophet says, you know, the vision has its time. It's not going to be late. It's going to show up, exactly at the right time. And that's what the Lord really does. Ultimately, St. Paul says the same thing about Jesus. Jesus shows up at exactly the right time to die for us. Right, so there's actually some really great connections there, but the call on our own lives to stay patient and true to the Word of God in the midst of our own difficulties as well, in waiting for the redemption of the Lord. The gospel reading is really particularly profound as well, and we hear the story of the parable of the mustard seed in a sense. If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you would say to this tree to be uprooted and cast into the sea. There's a little bit of confusion on what sort of tree it actually is. Sycamore tree fits a little bit better with a Greek word that's used, or at least sounds kind of like it, and that makes sense because sycamore trees have expansive roots. They grow really well near sources of water, and their roots actually grow maybe twice the distance of other trees' roots. So the fact of your faith being able to uproot that sycamore tree and cast it into the sea, it's a really profound image if you look at it as a sycamore tree. I like mulberry tree. That's another legitimate option for a guess at what sort of tree this actually was. And with the mulberry tree, you have the wood that represents the cross, and the fruit of the mulberry tree, the unripe mulberries, they're white. And you can look at this a couple of different ways. The white fruit, represents the water that flowed from Jesus' side on the cross, and when it's ripe, the blood red juice represents the blood that flowed from Him as well. And as well, you can look at it like that white fruit is like baptism, and the ripe fruit is the unripe fruit is like baptism, and the ripe fruit is like Eucharist. So you've got all these beautiful images there. But you think about it like this: either way, you've got image of the cross with the wood, and here's where it gets special, people. This is where it gets special. The sea in the Old Testament vision, or let's just say around the time of Jesus as well, in the ancient world, the sea is representative of chaos. And the fact that God has power over the sea, it makes sense. The Creator does. The Creator of all things has power over the chaos of the sea. So here's what Jesus is saying. If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you'll command the cross to be planted in the chaos of your life, ultimately bringing about peace and mercy and freedom and all of those things. So we all have this sea within us, and even think about it on an internal level. When you are stuck in the storms of life, even your little bit of faith can command that cross. I wonder if I pointed at it. That cross, the Paschal Mystery, to be uprooted from where it is and planted into the chaos of your life, bringing about peace and tranquility and security moving forward. So beautiful images, really beautiful symbols, and no matter how you look at it, no matter how you cut it, there's a lot you can draw from it. Call it a sycamore, call it a mulberry, it doesn't matter. The Lord, in His Paschal Mystery, brings peace to the chaos of our lives.